Hi there, students. An analogy can be actually countable or uncountable, but it's a noun. Okay, an analogy is a comparison where you compare two things that are very similar. They have very similar features, similar characteristics. And most commonly, this is used to help explain an idea. So, if you want to understand the brain better, what you need to do is think about the following analogy. The brain is like an enormous computer. Okay, it works in a very similar way. Okay, so an analogy. This is a way to illustrate something using something that people know better. It's much easier to explain abstract concepts by using an analogy. Yeah? It's a way of thinking and a way of explaining things. We can also actually have the adjective analogous, meaning similar, in a similar way. Okay, and that's how we use it. Okay, so an analogy, comparing two things to look at, to understand things better. Yeah, two things that are very similar in certain respects. So notice you can make an analogy between two things, or you can draw an analogy to it. So I don't know. If you want to understand the modern football club better, you should think about a large corporation. Okay, so analogy, similarity, a relationship, a parallel between these two things. Okay, molecules. Well, molecules are like a sun with the electrons being the planets orbiting around them. There you go. That's an analogy. Yeah, it's a relation between the two things, so that you understand what the idea or the concept better. So I don't know. You could make an analogy between the heart and a pump. Yeah, a pump for water, because it pumps blood around the system. Yeah. Okay. So this is our analogy. Two things that are similar, and to make a comparison between them, so that people can understand them. And that's the idea. Two things that there's an equivalence between between two situations. Yeah. Particularly if you want to extrapolate, see further in the future into something, or if you want to explain something. Whenever I can, it's not often possible, I like to use analogies of algebra, of mathematic algebra, to explain English grammar. Yeah, I don't know, for example, in English you can't use a double negative. Yeah, and if you do, it becomes positive. So the analogy to that is -1 times -1 equals +1. And there you go, there's an analogy for it. But it's not true in all languages. Okay, so let's see, formality and analogy. I think I'd give it 6 in formality. I think you could use it in an informal sentence. Probably sounds better in a semi-formal sentence, and in a semi-formal or formal writing as well. It would work very nicely. And then, as to origin, it comes from Latin analogia, which itself comes from Greek analogia, ana, okay, which I think and logos. Okay, so analogos, ana meaning of, on, towards, up, something like that. Yeah. So yeah, it's similar words along the same lines, and that's the idea. Okay, so an analogy is looking at the similarities between two things. It's very common to explain ideas using analogy. Okay, so enough. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Analogy. Analogical. Analogic.